Hello my yogi friends, welcome to today's class with me, Emily. Today's class is going to be a trauma-informed yoga class, and we're going to begin lying on our backs on our mat. So please go ahead and lie down flat, get comfortable as I guide us into the introduction. So lying on your mat, you can have your eyes softly closed or gaze softly off the tip of your nose, finding a drishti or gaze. Bring one hand to rest on your heart and one hand to rest on your belly. Hello everyone, my name is Emily and I'm going to guide us through a 30-minute flow today. During the practice, I'll be offering several suggestions in the form of cues and verbal assists. I invite you to listen to your body and to practice in a way that is most comfortable for you. Some of the poses may be more challenging than others. Please listen to your body, find a modification or take child's pose anytime that you need it. During the practice, I'll be directing our awareness to our body and sensations and closing the class with a shavasana to allow for these realizations time to integrate. I'd like to begin today with a visualization exercise. In this exercise, we're going to be imagining our favorite piece of fruit. See yourself walking through the grocery store and seeing the most beautiful and juicy piece of your favorite fruit. Imagine you purchase this piece of fruit, you bring it home to wash it, and you prepare it for eating. When you've washed the fruit and it is ready for you to enjoy it, your mouth waters as you bring the fruit towards your mouth. What sensations do you experience while eating this tasty fruit? Are there any emotions or memories tied to this particular fruit for you? Now let's try a different version of the story. You're at that same grocery store and you see the same exact piece of fruit, but you've actually never eaten it before. You buy it and you bring it home and you prepare it for eating. You are unsure as you try it and you discover you are absolutely disgusted by the taste of the same exact fruit. I invite you to feel the sensations or any emotions attached to eating this very same fruit and not enjoying it. What is that like for you? And now I invite us to come out of our kitchens and back into our bodies in this moment onto the mat. Hug your knees into your chest, take your time and roll onto your right side in a fetal position. And when you're ready, I invite you to gently press yourself up, coming into a seated position. We're going to start with our legs crisscross. You can imagine crisscross applesauce. You can sit on a block or a bolster here as well. And I did forget to mention, but some props that will be useful in our class today are going to be blocks, a bolster, and a blanket if we have them. If we do not have these items, please go ahead and proceed without them. We can make do as well. These are options and suggestions. So coming into a seated position, I invite us to feel our sits bones rooted into the ground, lengthen through the spine, and reach the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Our gaze can be soft at the tip of our nose, our shoulders relaxed away from the ear. Draw your belly up and in towards your spine. Find your breath here as you inhale and fill your chest, fill your belly, and as you exhale, allowing the same to fall. Inhale. Exhale. On your exhales, you're welcome to draw your tongue to the roof of your mouth and create a slight constriction, creating a little noise in the back of the throat. On our next inhale, we're going to open our chest and draw our gaze to the ceiling, finding a minor bend in the back. And as we exhale, we're going to draw our navel forward and look down, taking some seated cat-cows. Inhale, expand your chest. Minor back bend, and exhale, curl it forward. Beautiful. 2 more. Inhale. Working with your breath cycle. 1 more. Inhaling back to neutral. We're going to extend our left leg and bring our right heel right into our groin area. We're in a half butterfly pose here. I invite us to activate our left foot, energetically draw our left knee up to our left hip. Finding our breath. We can stay here if we like. Another option for us will be to inhale our arms up and exhale, fold forward and walk our hands out away from us. Allow our shoulders to roll down the ears and relax our head and neck. Breathing here. I invite you to allow sensations to come into the body and acknowledge them. But also, I invite you not to give any reaction to these sensations. If something comes up that's triggering or there's emotions, we can walk out of it, take a child's pose, or breathe through it, send breath to that area of sensation. One more cycle of breath here. And our next inhale, using our hands to walk us up if we are folded over. Guiding our left foot in and reaching our right leg out to the side in front of us. Coming to where it's comfortable for you. And if you feel like you'd like a little bit more support in this option of the pose, I invite you to bring a block or a blanket underneath the knee that is bent. So settling in here, grounding through our sits bones, flexing that right foot, staying here is an option. We're inhaling, arms up. And exhaling, folding forward, reaching our arms out in front of us. Relaxing our shoulders down away from our ears. You can have a bend in your right knee as much as you need. Finding your breath. Also the same ideas with the awareness or emotions. Noticing if there's any differences or similarities from one side to the next. But not giving it much thought, much attention, allowing it to be what it is. Breathing into the sensation, any area in your body that might need that extra breath. inhale, using your fingers to guide yourself up. Beautiful. Roll your shoulders down and away. We're going to swing our legs underneath us and come right onto our hands and knees, stacking the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, tucking our toes and sending our hips to the sky to downward facing dog. If you'd like support under your hands, you can bring blocks underneath your hands as an option. Bend your knees as much as you need is another option. Allow your shoulders to open up. You can bring your belly to rest on your thighs. And straighten your legs as much as you can, reaching your heels towards the back of the room. Allow your head and neck to relax. You can walk your dog if you'd like some movement in your knees. Taking turns to extend one leg. One heel gets to reach while the other one lifts. Coming to stillness. Pressing the weight into the four corners of our hands. On our next inhale, we're going to bend our knees a good amount, look forward, and gently walk to the top of the mat. Hinging at the hips, folding forward. Gently rolling up, grounding through the feet, tucking your chin and rolling up to the top of the mat. Vertebrae by vertebrae. Chin is the last thing to come up. Allow your shoulders to roll down and away. Looking down at your feet, we're going to walk our feet together. Plant the four corners of your feet into the earth. Lift your toes and lower the big toe and the pinky toe to the earth. Find a micro bend in your knees. Draw your navel to your spine. Arms come up as we sit down into chair pose. Looking down to make sure you can see all 10 toes. Breathing into any sensations that arise. Continually reaching your fingers away from you. Arms are by the ears. One more cycle of breath. Exhale to fold forward. Walk your feet hip distance apart. Inhale, present your heart, half lift. Exhale, plant your hands and step back for a plank. Go ahead and bring your knees to the ground if you'd like. Holding it here for a plank. And everybody lowering all the way down, finding a version of chaturanga. Coming into cobra or upward facing dog. And finding our way into a downward facing dog. On our next inhale, reach the right leg to the sky. Bend that right knee and bring it behind the right palm onto the earth. Allow the left leg to slide back. Top of the left foot comes to rest on the earth. Coming into a king pigeon. If we need support here, under our hip, have your blanket ready or blocks. Finding the variation that works for you. Using our fingertips to keep us lifted. We also have the option here to come onto our forearms or release all the way to the earth. I invite you to honor where you're at today and take the pose, the version of the pose that suits your knees and feels good in your body. Whichever option you are, coming back to our breath, coming back to our awareness, and noticing any sensations or feelings that arise. If there is an emotion that comes up for you, or a sensation, something that really feels strongly in your body, something that's really in your awareness, I invite you to acknowledge it and then search for a place in your body that you aren't feeling this emotion or sensation. Say we're feeling a certain sensation or an emotion that's in our right hip, or it's coming somewhere else in our body. We're going to scan our entire body and see where we don't feel that same emotion or sensation. It might be our left pinky toe. Maybe just right on the tip of the toenail. But I invite you to find where that place is for you and breathe into it. Acknowledge where you don't feel the same sensation or emotion. One more round of breath here. And I'm going to invite us to press up into our forearms, onto our hands, meeting the clasp in the king pigeon, pressing through the hands, tuck that left toe, send that right hip to the sky. Allow that right foot to come down to the earth, finding yourself in a downward facing dog. Bend the knees, pedal out your feet. Take any movement that you need, any release that you need. And coming to stillness, taking a cycle of breath. Inhaling our left leg to the sky, bending the left knee, bringing it below with the left hand. Allow the top of the right foot to come to the earth. Bring our hands by our hips for a king pigeon. Being proud, reaching our crown to the head. Energetically drawing that left hip back, right foot is allowed to come forward. If we want to come down into our forearms for an option, or recline all the way, I invite you to take the variation that works for you today. And noticing any similarities or differences on your left side versus your right in this pose. And notice if you need a different option on one side versus the other, if you need a different prop. Bringing awareness to it. And allowing it to be what it is without labeling it better or worse. It is. It just is today. Honoring your body for what it needs and where it's at. And if we have any sensations or emotions that arise On the opposite side, I would like us to bring awareness to it the same way we did if we had something on the other side. Welcome it. Welcome any thoughts or emotions. Feel it in your body, anything that comes up. And then scan your body for an area that you don't feel that same thought or emotion. This time it might be in your right pinky finger. Wherever you feel that emotion or thought not existing, take your attention there. Breathing in, sending breath to any area that you need it in your body. Becoming active, pressing up onto your hands and walking yourself up, grounding through those hands. Tuck your right toes, send your left leg to the sky, lowering back down for downward facing dog. And bring your knees to the earth for a child's pose. If you have a bolster, I invite you to cradle it underneath your knees or straddle it underneath your knees. Underneath your chest and right between your legs. And if you don't have a bolster, the other option is to either have your knees as wide as your mat, your arms out in front of you and send your hips back, or bring your knees together and allow your arms to rest to the side. If we don't have a bolster, I invite our third eyes to come to the mat. And with the bolster, you can choose your left or right ear to rest. Breathing in here, bringing awareness to the body. Breathing in to any areas that need your breath. Feeling supported from the earth below you. Let's get active wherever we're at, walking ourselves up, removing the bolster. If we used one in that pose, walk our feet underneath us and come to sit on our sits bones. Walking the meat underneath, away from our sits bones. Growing tall through the spine, walking our shoulders down away from our ears, presenting our chest here. Go ahead and extend the legs. And option one is we're going to inhale our arms to the sky. As we exhale, we're going to hinge at the hips and reach for our big toes with our peace fingers. We can have a generous bend in our knees if we need. We'd like to have our arms straight. Our neck is long. Staying here is an option. Having our legs flat to the earth is another option. And then the third option is we're going to take our feet, ground through our sits bones, and pressing into our peace fingers with the big toes, kicking our legs out away from us, drawing our navel to our spine, shoulders are away from our ears. Again, your knees can be bent here as well. Find your dristi or your gaze. Breathing here. Breathing into any sensations or emotions that you're having. Go ahead and find a bend in the knees. Relax your feet to the earth. Go ahead and shake that out if you need. We're going to come into a bridge pose. And if you have a block, I invite us to have a block ready for a supported bridge. We can also go ahead and do this with our back on the earth as well. Coming down to lie on our back, walk your heels towards your glutes. I just lift my tail off the ground to allow for the natural C curve and my lumbar spine to be there. Option one is to ground through the feet and press into the hands. Feeling activation in our core and our glutes as we lift our glutes off the ground, sending our hips to the sky. Option two, bring your hands into a bind underneath you. Using our arms kind of as a tripod, setting our hips to the sky. And option three is to bring the block underneath our sacrum. Bringing our hands flat to the earth. I'm going to add another layer of variation to this. Whichever one you chose, if you like, lift your right leg and cross that right ankle over the left knee. If this isn't feeling right in your practice, please keep both feet on the ground. Breathe in here wherever you're at. Go ahead and release the leg if you crisscross. Take another cycle of breath. Lift up if you have the block. Well, we're going to stay here on the block. I'm sorry, we're switching sides, but we can leave the block where it's at. Grounding through that right foot, we're going to be lifting the left up, bringing that left ankle to rest on top of the right knee. Breathing into that left hip as it rests on the block. Engaging through the glutes if we're lifted, whether the left ankle is resting or if we're in a more active version. Breathing into the sensations that arise. Acknowledge your body and take a break whenever you need. Go ahead and release the left leg. Lift up the glutes, release the block. Everybody bring your hips to the earth, hug your knees into your chest, and rock side to side, massage out your lumbar spine. And coming to stillness, extend your legs out away from you. Allow your feet to open up naturally. Allow your palms to open up to the ceiling. Neck is long. Release the constriction of the back of your throat if you have been practicing your breath. Just breathing normally, heavily. Allowing your exhales to sink deeper into the earth. We're preparing for our Shavasana here. We're going to stay here for a few moments. And I invite everyone to stay on the mat. If you have to go and you can't stay for Shavasana, I invite you to leave now, but everyone else, please go ahead and stay on your mats until we're finished. And gently close out the eyes, find your drishti. Any thoughts or emotions, anything that comes into your mind, I invite you to not pay too much attention to it and breathe it away. And starting to breathe awareness back into your body. Being here now on your mat, I invite you to take subtle movements, moving your fingers, your toes, rolling your wrists, your ankles. And when you're ready, hugging your knees into your chest and rolling on to one side in a fetal position. Taking as much time as you need, pressing yourself up into a comfortable seat. You can keep your eyes softly closed, or they can be open at this point. Please join me here with your hands in heart center. And I honor each and every one of you for showing up today for yourself, for dedicating yourself to this practice. Thank you for being here with me as I work through my yoga teacher training and go through my practice as well. It is my honor to hold this space for all of you and be this container for you on your yoga journey. Please bow your thinking head to your feeling heart. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.